Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our sixth session at TCCA. My name is Jacob Mitchell. I'll be your host. I'll be pretty much in the background most of the time while Meredith Akers and Mr. Tommy Spall are going to be presenting to y'all. So without further ado, here they are.
Hey, everyone. I am Tommy Spall. You can find me on Twitter at Tommy Spall. And when I signed up for this, I was like, well, I really want to do this great presentation I always do with my amazing Fresh Start EDU buddy. And I was like, I need to get her on there. I hope that she is free on Saturday. So it was not on your descriptions or on your handouts, but we were lucky enough to get the one, the only, the greatest Meredith Akers. Meredith.
Well, wow. Thank you for that introduction. Yes, Tom and I do Fresh.edu together, and we will tell you a little bit more about that on the next slide. But hello, I am Meredith Akers, and you can follow me at Meredith Akers.
All right. Sorry, I was playing with my sound. All right. So here we have it. We have Fresh.edu. You can follow us on the hashtag at #fresh.edu or at fresh.edu. Again, Meredith Akers. So what is Fresh Start EDU? Meredith?
What is Fresh.edu? We like to send out short little videos once a week, just sharing, and it's only through Twitter. We do post them to YouTube as well, but we keep them on Twitter so that it's just in your feed, a short idea. And really, for me and Tom, it's just about keeping things fresh as educators. Because if you're bored as an educator, for certain your students are bored, or if you're an administrator, your staff is bored if you're bored. So it's fresh ideas. A lot of times it's a technology idea because Tom and I both love technology, but it's not always a technology idea. Sometimes it's a quote. Sometimes it's a strategy that's paper and pencil, but it's ideas just to keep things fresh. And they are short, quick videos that you can watch if you follow us on Twitter or on YouTube.
So we have an example of our first one, so we're going to play this for you.
Hey, I'm Meredith Akers.
And I'm Tom Spall, and we are Fresh Thought EDU.
Hey, Tom, have you ever heard that quote? It's often attributed to Albert Einstein, but it says that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Have you heard that?
Yes, very much so, yeah.
I feel like as an educator at this time of year, we are in that quote. We are living it. Because we're saying the same things over and over again to kids. We're doing the same types of lessons and we're expecting different results. I'm hearing people saying things like, I've told him this 100 times. And so that's kind of the idea behind Fresh Thought EDU is we want to keep it fresh for our students, but we want to keep it fresh for ourselves too, so that it's a fun adventure that we look forward to going into work every day. And it's not just clocking in.
And we always have those good instructional ideas, those good technology or procedural or behavior kind of fresh ideas. And it's a good way to remind ourselves to every day is a new day, and every day is a new day to be fresh. And that's the same thing that we want to tell students every day too. So
absolutely. So we're hoping to bring fresh thoughts every Tuesday and Thursday to you guys starting now and from now on. So look for some fresh thoughts every Tuesday, Thursday.
Can't wait to see you.
Man, Meredith, we look totally different in the
We've been doing it for a few years now. I'm like, wow, we look so young. And our video quality has improved since then. So that's
our video quality has gotten much better. So
I see in the comments, someone just asked, hey, is there a link to the materials? And you're about to see it. And we've put it in the chat, but I'll put it in one more time. After this slide, you're going to start seeing it at the top of every single page. It's a bit.ly link. So look for that in just a second. So first off, we're going to talk about, this is Backpack Full of Templates. And we want to share with you guys just tons of our favorite templates. And I want to say to you, all of the templates that we're going to share today are totally free for your use. And we are going to give you the link to all of those. But as Jamie just asked in the chat, is there a link to the materials? Yes, you want this link because that way you can click when I say, click here for the blog post and template. You're going to want to get that. It's at bit.ly/backpackfull because this is Backpack Full of Templates. But you'll notice it is case sensitive. So the B of backpack is capital. And then FULL are all capitals. So bit.ly/backpackfull. That's going to be in the corner of every single slide in case you misplace that or want to grab it later. But that's where all these templates are going to be located, and they are all free for your use. So this first template that we wanted to share with you is a choice PD. I am a principal at Rennell Elementary in Cy-Fair ISD, and this was it was born out of my very first year as principal. We had one of those days mid-year that was a professional development day. And I had been asking teachers throughout the year, what do you think, what do you need that day? What kinds of different PD are you looking for? And I remember writing down different ideas as I spoke to teachers. And one teacher said, I really need to learn more about Twitter. I see you on Twitter all the time. I don't know anything about that. So I was like, okay, I need to do a session on Twitter. And then another teacher said, I really wish I knew some Google tips and tricks. So I wrote that down. Another teacher said, I want to learn more about how to video myself so that I can have pre-recorded lessons for my students and do some flipped lesson kind of things. But then as I realized, if I just have them do a sit and get, and everybody learns about Twitter and Google tips and tricks and video lessons, there are already teachers at the school who know how to do Twitter. They're going to be bored for that section. There's already teachers that are really great at Google and don't need these Google tips and tricks. There's already teachers doing video lessons. So I decided to do a choice PD. And this is a template. It's just using Google Slides. It's just Google Slides. And Tom, if you'll click right on the center of the picture, not the blog post, but the picture, we can see, just click there. We can see what it looks like. When I sent this out to the staff, I told them, hey, here's the directions. You are going to pick one and you're going to learn one new thing. That's all I'm asking for the day. Use the rest of the day however you want. But what I showed them, like if Tom had picked Twitter, right here, it says skip to what you need. So I even showed them, hey, after I recorded the video of me explaining it all, if they already know how to set up an account or they've already done that, but they were like, I don't know how to follow others though. They would skip to 1 minute and 55 seconds. Once they hit play, they'll drag the bar across to 1 minute and 55 seconds, and then they can just watch that part. Then if they get to this page and they're like, I already know these 4 things, but I want to learn more about Twitter, at the bottom, I have a link that says extend your learning. And if teachers were to click there, it takes them out to another page that I think it's a Toby page, where I had saved a bunch of links to things where they could extend their learning. So guess what? At the end of the day, everybody was supposed to come back and be ready to share one thing they learned. That's all they had to do was learn one thing. Guess what? Because I gave them choice, because it was open-ended, a lot of great things got done. Grading got done, long-term planning, they got things they needed to get done. But also, everybody in the room said, well, I started with Twitter, but then I went over to this one. And then they all learned more than one thing. And I think it's just us as adults, if that's what we want, students want that too. So on the blog post, you can go back to our presentation, Tom. On the blog post, I actually share here's the one I made for adults so that you can see a full example, but here's an idea for students too. So if you click that link to the blog post, you can actually get a template for student use. And I think this is really great for review, because not every student in the room needs to review the same content. One student may feel really great about, the planets, but really need to study stars if you were studying outer space, for example. So that template is there as well. And it's called choice review instead of choice learning. And you can grab that template and I even have a video in there that tells you how to edit and make that template your own.
Something that I don't know if I never noticed that you did this before, but this is absolutely genius. I just learned that is smart. I always put in videos, but I'm never I don't set this up. That's genius, friend. I'm giving you a pat on the back from over here. That's amazing. Wow.
It's nice. And for students too, if you were doing a review, if you can just go through and find, okay, where did I start talking about this or this? That way students can go right to what they need to learn from you, and they don't feel like their time is wasted. They can spend their time on what they need. So those times are really helpful.
That's unbelievable. That's so smart. So smart.
So we like to say, after we share each template, we're going to share how did we design that? Because yes, we want to give you templates, but we hope that you also leave with some knowledge in your backpack so you could create your own. So how did we design that? The big key that I used in this one was Control K. I clicked on, for example, the Twitter bird and those words, and then held down Control K to open the link box. And that lets you link to outside sources. Like I'm going to link to a web page that I want them to go to, or it even lets you link to other slides within your slide deck. So that's what I did. If you click on the Twitter, it takes you directly to the slide that was all about Twitter. If you click on the Google, it takes you directly to the slide that was all about Google. So Control K is the tip for how to design that template.
Fantastic. All right, y'all. So we have a bunch of different templates. This one is one that I made a couple of years ago. I'm trying to keep it updated. It's hard because Fortnite is always going through new seasons. I wanted something more relatable to the kids at this time. So I made a choice board menu. This one is great for like one big project or like a PBL unit or something like that. And so what I did is I thought up a bunch of different ideas, the same amount of ideas as the drop points in the Fortnite map. And I made this template where the kids can have it come up full screen. They choose where they want to drop on the map, and then they get to choose what do they want to do on that map. So if they want to do something non-digital, or if they want to do something Google related, they have those options when they click on there and go into that Fortnite menu. So what's nice is we provide, Meredith and I are big on this, by the way. We're always big on this. We don't go through teacher pay teachers. We don't go through anything that needs paying like that. We want you to have our templates for free so you guys can quickly use them in the classroom with your students. So here's a template. I can open it up, and then I just have the different slides that you can jump to and go through right in here. I even give all the directions on slide 2, how you can use this. So slide 3 is technically the first slide. I would go full present mode. And then what happens is when you're in present mode and the student has it up on their device, they can choose where they want to drop into on the map. So if they want to drop in on Lazy Lagoon, it takes them to a power tune that they can go do a power tune. And on every slide is right here, it's the project rubric for that specific project. That's why I put it up here. So this is going to change every single time. So you're going to have whatever the project is for this. Then have back buttons so you can go back to the map and choose something different. So if I want to choose a G Suite tool, I would click on the yellow one. Web tools, white. Non-digital is blue, because there's tons of kids that don't like to do digital, y'all. So they can do non-digital projects. And then teacher-led. So if I want to set it up for the whole class, I could do a teacher-led Flipgrid or something cool like that. So definitely take a look at the template. Again, all this stuff is provided for you, and you can get to all those. So a lot of people always ask, both Meredith and I, how do you guys, one, find the time to make all these templates? And two, how do you guys just figure it out, and how do you design all this? So I always tell people my design works backwards, kind of. I sit down with a big piece of butcher paper on the ground, and I'm like, okay, what is my student outcome? What do I want my students to be able to get from this digital menu? So I look at it and I'm like, okay, so at the end product, I want these tools or these choices for my kids. Now, am I going to get there? So I work backwards and I do all the writing like this on a big butcher paper with markers, and I script it all out. And then I go back and I make it all digital once I have my rough draft. And that's the easiest way to do this, especially when you're doing multiple links within a Google slide presentation and working yourself around that fast. Don't forget, right down here, I always like to, like Meredith says, we like to give you a quick tip. This is Control D. What does that do? If I'm in something and I click on a image or text and I do Control D, it both copies and pastes at the same exact time. It duplicates that object. So if I'm in here and I click on the plan and I hold down Control D, guess what? It's going to make my quick copy of that text in the same format. Same with pictures and stuff like that as well. All right. Let's go to the next slide. Oh, it's me. So this one is creative book trailers. So another template that I did. And again, here's the blog post and here's the template to get to there. I have my creative book trailer ideas. I had a teacher that she goes, I'm just tired of the same book report and the same book stuff. So I was like, well, how can I make this a little bit more differentiated for your students in your classroom? And she goes, what if we did like a level thing? I was like, great idea. So I made a level 1, a level 2, and a level 3 kind of based on difficulty and how that app or how difficult that thing is to use. So this is just, they can choose. Again, we're giving our kids with all these templates, both Meredith and I, we're giving these kids and teachers a voice and choice. So they have 3 different levels that they can choose from on here. Again, all our stuff is linked on this presentation, bit.ly/B backpack, capital FULL backpack full. So definitely get back to this, and you guys can have all of our templates and blog posts. Some other examples. This menu is not Fortnite. So we have some people that are big Fortnite gamers, but then we have classrooms that are not. So this is the same type of menu. It almost has some of the same choices, but this is a digital choice board where you have entrees, appetizers, desserts, and beverages. So the kids can go through.
Tom, I love this menu. And even though, yes, some of your kids might be big Fortnite fans, even the Fortnite fans, you got to change things up. So I think it's great just to have, hey, here's it seems different in some way. It's going to feel fresh for them. Just like we talked fresh.edu. We like to keep things fresh for us and fresh for our kids. So I just had to jump in and say that because I love this menu that Tom has.
Meredith, thank you for that fresh idea. Of course, always trying to keep it fresh. And then the other one that I'm going to be honest. I love my Fortnite one. I love this one. I love all the ones Meredith has. I really, really like this one. It's a choice board. And why I like this one is it's not focused on one project or one PBL or something like that. It's a template for a unit. It's a template for a whole week for your kids. So if you can have this template, it's right here, template. And when you're in here, you can edit all these little tasks that you want the child to do. And I have these markers are for a date. So the kid can write in whatever date of that week that he did that or she did that assignment. And then the check marks, these are all check marks that can move. They can be dragged and dropped anywhere on here. So if the kid did this one, check, and they can move those check marks. And at the end of the week or the end of this unit that you guys are working on, then they can show you their choice board and say, hey, I finished my whole choice board. We've been using this a lot in classrooms already. I've seen in Brenham IC, teachers are embracing this and they're using it. This is the closest thing that I think you can get to a blended learning environment in your classroom by giving the kids voice and choice and letting them work on their templates. All our teachers push out their templates through Google Classroom. So each kid has their own template that they can track and keep up with all week long as they go through a choice board like that one. So. And then my last one that I just did, I think 2 weeks ago. So this one is a great choice board. It's not really a choice board. It's more just a digital board that I made for teachers to have as a splash page on kids, as a bookmark on kids' accounts, Chrome accounts. So they can add whatever pictures and links they want in here. It's kind of like a Symbaloo page, if you know what Symbaloo is. And everything is linked on here. And then I take this and I make it present mode and I share that. And then that's what kids bookmark on their pages. So it's just a great way that they can have this. Someone is asking us, can any of these work in PowerPoint? You can download these and you can put them into PowerPoint. And you can take each slide and try to put it in. All my templates and slides are made for Google Slides specifically. And then someone else asked, how do we work on pacing? Well, on that one, I leave it up to only choices that they have during the week is by that. So they have the choices that week. The other templates are, the pacing is really decided by the rubric. So I have on those rubrics for those PBL projects with that template, they get to say, okay, so this part of your project needs to be done by this date and this part needs to be done. So that's how they have the choice to choose what template they want to use, what they want to go through, and then going with that with the pacing. So.
Next, we're going to talk about some positive incentive templates. And you guys have everybody has different positive incentive ideas in your classroom, like, putting marbles in a jar or a brownie chart. But here's an idea. I know it's not Halloween yet, but, there's already Christmas trees out. So here's an idea around the holidays. We've got a Christmas tree here. And Tom, if you'll click on the tree, it's going to take us out so that we can see how it works. So on this example, you can fill in, it's totally editable for you. And you can fill in, or you need access. So that's sad. I did not link it well, but I'll tell you about it. Anytime a student clicks on a ornament, basically the ornament gets bigger and it tells them like you earned a stinky feet pass, which would be like, shoes off, or you earned sit by a friend, or you earned bring electronics for play something fun on your electronics, or you earned write with a pen, or whatever incentives that you have in your class. And so that's a way that you can just, like we said before, keep it fresh, do something different. At the blog post, I have a bunch of different ideas other than just that one tree, but here's an example. He can click on it here. if you click on one of the, there was Sorbucks. And then if you click on the star, it'll take you back home. And then when the students click on any one of them, boom, that one gets bigger. It says they won Sorbucks, now Sorbucks and back. So it's pretty fun, a fun way. And you can go in and edit, and all the links are already done for you. You would just have to go in and change the incentives. So then I think the next one, is Tom's positive incentive idea. Oh, I forgot. How do we design that? So the way we designed that is I actually had one picture of that tree with all the ornaments on it. And then I drew transparent boxes over the whole page and then a star on top. And here's why. So normally in a slide deck, if you click anywhere, like Tom right now, if he clicks anywhere, it's going to go to our next slide. But I don't want them to just go on to the next slide. I want them to go only back to the very first slide so that they can choose which ornament they want again. So the way you force someone to go back to the first slide is I drew a box over the entire page. And then after I drew that box over the entire page, instead of having it be blue or gray or whatever color, I actually made it transparent. So it looks completely clear. So Tom's going to do that for me. If we go to the fill in box, we can choose transparent and it looks clear. So I think of it as like saran wrap. I've just put saran wrap over that so that the kids can't actually touch the slide now and advance it. They're just touching that box. And then I link using, remember I taught you earlier that we can hit Control K to link. We can hit Control K and actually link that box to the same slide. So we're on slide 16. If Tom scrolls down and chooses slide 16, then when he's in presentation mode, no matter how many times he clicks, it is not going to advance. It's actually going to be taking him back to slide 16 over and over. It's going to take him back. He's trying to click and he can't. So then on top of that saran wrap, if there's like a home button I want, or I want them to go one place, I can show them, hey, when you click on this star, which I drew that star at the top on top of my saran wrap, which was my transparent box, that star always took them back to the home page. So it would only ever take them to the same page or back home. And then, for example, the ornament, when they tapped on an ornament, it would only take them to the ornament page that I set up. So that's how I made those links work, is transparent boxes and then some smartly ordered layers. Then you can absolutely click there for the link and work with it and see how it's set up.
This is how I make a lot of my templates too. That last one that I showed you that I had made with the links page, like the Symbaloo type page, over a lot of those pictures, because I wanted all, no matter where they clicked in that box, whether the image or the text, I wanted them to go to that link. So I made invisible transparent boxes on top of each of those boxes so that they could click on there. No matter where they clicked, it took them to that link. So it's really cool to make digital menus using transparent boxes. All right.
I love this one.
Baby Yoda. October 30th. That is a plug. Mandalorian season 2. All right. So what I love about this is a behavior board. So I had a teacher in my class, and like they always wanted like some ingenious, like new way to make an incentive or like a behavior board. So as the kids are completing tasks during the day, or as they are working towards a goal during the day, back in my day, before digital, we had just a bucket and we had cotton balls, and we would put in cotton balls. And once you've got filled past a certain line, it's like, yay, pizza parties, something cool like that. So this is a digital version of that. So this has 5 moves over here, and you start way back here, and then you just put this up on your screen as a whole group. You can either do this as a whole group, or you could do this individually with the students at their computer. You could send this to them, and they keep track of progress monitor their behavior during the day, and you just keep up with it. But most of them, you like to use these templates as whole group, and they get to click. And so as the students are like, hey, we just had a really good compliment from the hallway, then you click on your mouse or on your keyboard, and you move that character or that image one spot forward. So each slide is it's linked. So when you click on it, guess what? The next slide. And so it looks like he's actually moving across the pods, whatever things. So I have a couple of those. I don't have just the Yoda one. I have the Yoda one. I have a football one. And I have a lot of those. Oh, wow. We are bad. Oh, make a copy. Good.
Oh, that's good. You did good.
I got worried there. I was like, oh, no. So it automatically makes a copy of that for that template. But I do have other ones if you want those in the future. And so it tells you how many moves this one is. what the objective is and how to do this, make sure you go to present mode on your smartboard or your full screen or your whatever kind of screen you have. So I go to present mode, and then I just move that character around as we do or finish tasks or things during the day.
What's great about all these templates that we're sharing, including this one, is if you wanted it to be 7 moves, they're fully editable.
Yep.
So now, once you look at it and figure out what Tom's done to set it up for you, you add in a couple more spots and just move Baby Yoda to those spots, and then done. You've got one with 7 if that's what your class needs.
Meredith, that was a great idea. I really like how you put input into this presentation. I'm going to move Yoda 1 click. Good job, Meredith. So incentive board, as you get the point. So it's just really cool. I have a football one, a soccer one, and then you just leave this up on your board. And then as the kids do something good or work together, then we move it a second one. And of course, since it is a forward, we also have a back. So I have seen kids be like, oh, we have to work hard. So there you go. Wah, wah, wah. All right. Create the background, create your movable object that you want moved across, and then duplicate that object on each slide and just change the size. So that's all I did is duplicate a little Yoda guy there, and I just made him bigger and bigger and bigger each time as he moved closer to the front. All right, and here's all my other incentives that you can check out.
So many. Look at these. I love these.
So here's Baby Yoda. Here's a snowman. Christmas time is coming up. So the teachers love to use this, and it's 10 steps. So they have all day long to get to their 10 steps and make it through. And then they get to, as they go throughout the day, it builds up the snowman. Do you make how-to videos? We do. I have a bunch on my blog. Meredith has a bunch on her blog. If you ever get in a bind and you need us, just send us a message on Twitter and be like, hey, how did you do that one part? Or do you have any suggestions? And we'll walk you through anything. We're really good with tutorials. All right.
On most of these, some of them we just share the template, but on most of them, like you see at the bottom of this one, it says click here for the blog post and template. Usually we share how we did it in the blog post. So hopefully that helps. But as Tom said, reach out to us. If there's ever something that I don't explain or don't explain well, reach out to us.
So I get asked all the time, like, can you make me this one? I'm like, sure, I'll just put it on my check sheet to make you one for your classroom or help you make one.
So something else another topic of templates that we'd like to share is touch screen templates. I know in my district, I'm in Cy-Fair ISD, we have Promethean panels in the classroom, which are very similar to a smartboard. Some people have smartboards. Promethean panels, instead of projecting onto it, it's like a big screen TV that it's a touch screen. Also, the Chromebooks that our students use are all touchscreen as well. So last school year, I worked with some teachers and we were trying to figure out, man, we need to take advantage of the fact that we have all these touchscreen devices, but we're really not using that capability enough. We felt like the teachers were touching the screen a lot, but we wanted to have activities where the kids touch the screen more. So this is an example of one thing. It was like my first attempt at making something to utilize that touchscreen for students. So on this slide, you'll see it says drag to solve. And then underneath it's got the directions. And then I've got 4 questions, but 6 answers. And what the students do is simply walk up to the screen, whether it's their personal computer or the Promethean panel, and touch and drag over the answer. And then what I did is in the speaker notes, you know how at the bottom of every slide, there's speaker notes. When they go to the next slide, the answers are in the speaker notes. So that way they can self-check. We did this as what we call a future ready station, where the students are going to self-check. It's a way for them to practice. It's not for a grade. It's when they're still learning. And so that way students can self-check. And it says, click here for the blog post and template. So you can totally do that.
Awesome. So good.
So how do we design that? Number 1, I used the dead space around the outside of the slide for the answer choices. So everything wasn't on the actual white slide space. In Google Slides, it's kind of like a lighter gray around the slide. And did you know you can actually write stuff there? You can put directions out there. And so that is where I think the directions, the title is above the actual slide, and all the answer choices is above the slide. You can use all that space if you want to. And then the other way to make this drag and drop work is you have to tell your students to keep it in presentation in edit mode. So not like right now we're in presentation mode, but if Tom pops out of presentation mode, when you're still editing and you can see all the little baby thumbnails on the side like this, you have to keep it in this mode. That way the students are able to drag and drop in from that dead space around the outside. So Tom's just showing you like, here's something on the dead space, and then the kids can click and drag it over when they're ready.
A great way to make like sorting activities or cover activities and stuff like that. So awesome. Meredith, you're so smart. So lucky to work with you.
Thank you.
As you see during our presentations, we applaud each other. We give cheers to each other. You're awesome.
All right. Here's another one that I created.
By the way, I'm gonna cut you off. This is amazing, by the way. So just pay attention. This is
Thank you, Tom. I'll pay you later. So this one I love because, again, I was thinking of our future ready, our stations where it's not a worksheet. It's something we just want the kids to practice, right? We need to give them time to practice with the content before it's for a grade. So here was this idea. It looks like they're moving the magnifying glass over to reveal the answer. Do you see that? So it says like the 4 times 2, and it says move the magnifying glass to reveal the answer. But what's really happening, here's the secret, is the magnifying glass is actually behind the answer. So 4 times 1 is 4. So what I did, and I'm going to say, how'd you design that on the next slide? When the magnifying glass moves over, it's not really revealing anything. It's not on top. It's actually going behind the answer. And so I've used my right click button or 2-finger click if you're on a trackpad. And I've said on that answer, like the answer choice, I've said bring to front so that it's above the magnifying glass. And so it's just a layering trick that it's the same color. The answer choice is the same color as the background, so it looks invisible. But then when the students bring over the magnifying glass, it looks like it's revealing the answer, but really it's going behind it. And Glenn said, yep, it's the negative space in art. Exactly. I'm using that negative space to reveal the answer.
Ridiculous. I've also seen stuff like this where they do like they have a picture and then they have the magnifying glass and they make the picture all dark and then they have magnifying glass moving around, so it's like an I Spy. What do you notice about this picture without seeing the whole entire picture?
So how do you design that? We always want to give you that tip so you can do it yourself. You use, for your answer choice or whatever you're hiding, you make that the same color as the background. And then you can use an object to reveal the answer. And then you want to make sure that you right click and choose order, bring to front on whatever the answer is, so that, and another way to do that is to hit Control-Shift up. That's just another tip. But that way, whatever the image is that you're moving is going to be behind the answer. The answer needs to be the thing that's the most on top.
Ridiculously amazing.
So a couple of other touchscreen templates. I'm not going to dissect these, but I wanted to share them with you so that you could use them, especially because one of them is very fall flavored, if you will. So this one's a touchscreen board activity. It's kind of like a scoot around the room. If you've ever done that as an elementary person, if kids are learning digitally, this could be a way they could do it. They just click on one, right? So they're going to click on the tree. It's going to automatically link and take them to the question. And then on the blog post, it has a sheet of paper that they would print or type in that has, hey, when you get to the tree, write your answer here. Hey, when you get to the pie, write your answer here. So they have a record sheet, but this is how they're getting to the questions, just so it's not the same old boring, here's your packet that you're doing. But they can't scoot around the room if they're at home, right? So this is a way to make that interactive for them. Also, you can use it on your Promethean panel or smart boards, if you have a touchscreen board in your room, that they could walk over, click one, go back to their seat and solve that problem. It's just allowing movement in a different way. And then another fun one is this balloon pop. For the kids, they think it's fun. They tap the balloons and it looks like they pop. Really, just 2 different slides. When they tap the balloons, it's going to take them to another screen that looks, I've got some lines drawn in because I'm a great artist, that make it look like pop, and it has the answer. So you can completely edit all of that to make it about your content. It's great for a review, or it's also great like that Edu protocol where you just quiz them on the same things every day for a week, and then they learn it because it's the same questions with the same answers every week. So that's a great way to use that one as well.
So smart. I remember it was at TCCA way back in the day that I saw you first do this one, and I was like, oh, that's so because I used to be able to do that in Smart Notebook. I just never thought of how to do that in a slide presentation. I watched you do it. I was like, no way. You just blew my mind away. So smart.
So what about some other great learning templates? We tried to categorize everything, but these didn't necessarily fit in a category, but we have some more for you. I created these recently because in Sci-Fair ISD, right now we have, depending on the school, but about half of our students in Sci-Fair right now are learning at school, face-to-face. Half of them are learning at home. And I know everybody across the nation, we've all got some students learning at home, some students learning at school. And for us in Sci-Fair, the great majority of our students at school don't have their device yet. We weren't yet one-to-one. And so our kids at home, we made sure they had a device so that they could learn from home. But a lot of our kids at school don't have a device yet. And I thought, oh my gosh, to make this year work, when I was thinking about the year before the year even got started, I was concerned, oh my goodness, how are teachers going to have time? Because they've got to plan something digitally for their online kids, but something, we don't have any computers at school. So something paper for their face-to-face kids. And so I thought, we got to think smarter. What if I make an activity that is exactly the size of a piece of paper, that has directions off to the side for the online kids so that they can complete this online completely in Google Slides. But if the teacher hits print, because it's the size of a piece of paper, that's what I've made the slide. If they hit print, you can also just do it paper and pencil. So that means the teacher creates one activity, but it could be used paper and pencil, or it can be used digitally. So how did I make that assignment? You can see the digital directions are on the side. And here, this silly one, this is the Floor is Lava. I don't know if you guys watched this summer. Me and my kids watched the Floor is Lava and then played a lot. We may have broken some things at my house playing the Floor is Lava, but it's fun. And so I'm not encouraging your students to tear up your classroom and actually move around. Instead, I've made like a room at the top of the screen. You can see there's a bunch of different furniture. And I've told them in the directions, what you're going to do is you're going to make a path from the start to the finish and just circle the items. And you have to make sure you've chosen, I think it says six or more. Once they choose those 6, they've made their path from enter to the exit, then those are the 6 questions they have to answer. So for a kid, they're like, woohoo, I don't have to do all of the questions in this packet. No, you're just going to do these 6. And so then they map it out and they put their answers on the record sheet. I also have in this blog post, I didn't put them all in this presentation, but if you click on that link to the blog post, I have 4 other templates that are also exactly in the same format, meaning they can be either printed or they can be sent to your students digitally. So they can be completed online or paper pencil, depending on what happens that week, right? If your school happens to be shut down that week for some reason, you can still use the same activity. So how did I design those templates that are able to be either printed or done online? I went to File, Page Setup, and then Tom's going to show us. You go to File, Page Setup, it's down at the bottom. And then this pops up and you have to click on the drop down. So it says widescreen and you're going to choose custom. And then we're going to change it to inches, and don't really change it, Tom. It'll mess up our presentation.
Yep, I know.
Change it to 8.5 by 11, or if you wanted it landscape, you do 11 by 8.5. You can actually change a Google slide to be any size you want if you know this little hack. So once I went there and changed the slide to 8.5 by 11, what's really cool is when you go to print, you know, normally if you print Google Slides, it'll print like a page with like a thumbnail of the slide. Instead, automatically, if you print it when it's 8.5 by 11, it is going to do a full bleed of the full piece of paper.
A lot of people are like, how do you do 4 by 6s, like pictures and stuff? You make your presentation at the beginning however you want. They're like, how do you replicate? How do you make digital worksheets? I said, I set up my page to be the 8.5 by 11.5, whatever it is. Right. So it looks like the actual page that you could print off and stuff like that. That's how you make good digital worksheets.
Awesome.
So smart. Oh yeah. I might want to get back and present one.
Thanks, Tom. All right. So here's 2 more templates that I just wanted to share with you that are out there for you to use. This is a safe for school meme generator. I know that I love memes. I think they're hilarious. If you don't know what a meme is, that's so when there's like an image. Usually it's a well-known image. And then there's white text usually above and below it that makes some kind of joke that makes you laugh and giggle. And so could we use that for school? Absolutely. You could ask students, hey, I want you to create a meme about how the character is feeling right now in the read aloud we're doing. Hey, I want you to create a meme that describes, you know, how the colonists were feeling at this point in the revolution. You could use it in lots of different ways. And so every meme generator I've ever found online has gotten some unsavory images and words maybe that we don't want to expose our students to. So this one's totally safe for school because all I've got on the side is images that are safe for school, but show different emotions. And then the students can just double click on my text that's already there and change it. And it's got directions right there for how they can change out the images and change out the text. And then another one that you might want to use is the book snaps slides template. If you don't know what a book snaps is, there's kind of a movement in education. It's really usually mostly among the educators. Yeah. And it's on Twitter. A lot of people are using Snapchat to take pictures of a book they're reading, maybe a quote that they read that they're like, oh, that stands out to me. And then they can add in a book snap, because you're in Snapchat, you can add text over it. Like, yes, this, I agree. Add your Bitmoji that's like showing heart love. But a lot of teachers want to be able to do that with their students, but not necessarily having their students get on Snapchat because we might lose them. They might derail and go down a Snapchat rabbit. And so this is a way to do it in Google Slides. And I've got the directions for how, did you know in Google Slides, you can actually go to insert image, snap a picture. And then if they have a camera, like my laptop right now has a camera, they can hold up their book and just like, meh, take a picture right in Google Slides. So that is a really cool template as well. Oh, Tom's showing us insert image. And then it is camera. And then you can go right to your camera, take a picture and have your students insert it. So you could use that also for like, show me the text evidence of how you found that. Show me your work, math teachers, if they're learning from home, show me your work. It might not have to be a book snap where they're adding images and hearts, but you can have them import their work really easily into a Google slide.
And coming up, we have some more great ideas on how you can use that snap photo camera, in your Google slide presentation.
Two more. And I think it was Glenn earlier. Someone out there was asking, how do you make a Frayer model collaborative? So let me start with that one and I'll share. I made this Frayer model collaborative because I wanted students to work on it together, but also I'm thinking, will you click on that on the actual image of the Frayer model? Is it clickable? No. Nope. So never mind. I thought I had the example linked there, but in my staff meeting one day, I actually split up. We had a self-care staff meeting. It was last year. It might have been 2 years ago. And it was an article that had a bunch of different self-care strategies. And it was like that time of year right before the STAR test when it was like, we need to take a moment for ourselves, right? And so instead of just having everybody read all of it or everybody do all of the slides, we broke it up and I asked, group one, and it was 3 students, I think, you're going to read number 1 and you're going to make a Frayer model that describes the number 1 self-care option. And then group 2, you're going to go to slide 2 and it was different. This Frayer model was on every slide. So that template was already set up for them. And so then group 2 did self-care strategy number 2. Group 3 did self-care strategy number 3. But they went through that Frayer model. I gave them a time limit. I think they had 15 minutes to complete it. And then every group had to send 1 representative up and they had to present in 30 seconds or less their Frayer model. So then the whole staff, one at a time, 1 representative from each group came up. And then if this was, I used it with self-care strategies because that's what I felt like needed to apply to my staff at the moment. But I asked them, how could you use this in your class? And a lot of people talked about, you could use this for review. You could use this when you're introducing something because then every student in the class has access to all the Frayer models. Yes, you give them the packet or the article that had everything in it, but now they've got the breakdown that someone did for them as well that they can reference. Like here's an image, in a Frayer model, you typically do what they are, what they're not, an image, a definition, maybe a sentence. Different people have you do different things, but it was a great way to, if you know, I just lost his name, Control Alt Achieve, Eric Kurtz. He calls this, what does he say? He says like intercollaboratively. He makes up a word where it's kind of independent, but it's kind of collaborative because they're getting to see each other's work. Similarly, in this cooperative critical writing example, this is actually not a slide. I think it's our first one that's not a slide. This one is a Google Doc where I've broken the class into 6 groups. So I have group 1, let's say it's table 1. And group 2 is table 2. And I'm going to ask a question. And in this example, I've got some really open-ended questions. Like it says things like predict. When I say go, the person, I can't read it because it's tiny, but the person with the shortest hair will write what you predict will happen next. And then another one, it does so next in what? Well, whatever the teacher was just talking about. So I tried to make them open-ended enough that you could use it in any staff meeting, in any class that you're doing. And it's just that check-in of having them write. The reason that they're sitting at a table is one person is typing at that table. And what I went to an awesome class last summer, not the summer of 2020, but 2019 at Harvard University. It was such a blessing that I got to go. It was so awesome. And one of the presenters shared about when students write with each other, when like only one person's allowed to write, but there's other people telling them what to write, what happens is they are teaching each other. We've got this peer pressure a little bit, but it's not pressure as much as like helping each other. Oh man, go back, put a comma there. Now the teacher may have told him to put a comma 1,000 times there, but once the peers tell them, something kind of sticks, right? And so it's a great way to have, and then on the next one, it might be the person with the largest shoe size, or another one might be the person who's wearing blue, the most blue today. So you're choosing different people from the table to be the one typing or writing, but the collaborative part is they're helping each other know what to write. So they're having that academic conversation, but they're also having that conversation about writing, because no matter what level, that is a skill we have to reinforce in our kids. I know at my school, that is one that I'm always worried about their writing, and how can we infuse more writing in all of our subjects? So that is a way, and that template is there for you at our link, which is bit.ly/backpackfull. The B and the FULL are capital.
Nice. One that I absolutely love, and I saw this once on Twitter, and I started doing it with my students, and they loved it, is making comic books. And the original person that I saw share this was Meredith Akers. And what's cool is she has these great comic book templates already set up for you, but you can do these just as easy in your classroom as well. So you can grab her templates or use your own. And where it says add your picture, you can add a picture from the web, or one that you've downloaded, or one that you've made in maybe Jamboard or something. But what's cool is you can use that insert image from camera mode and just like act out like you're like saying something out of your mouth, like, and then and like you're yelling something, and then put that picture inside of your presentation, which can be done on any device, including the Chromebooks, because our students use it here in Brennan YC. So definitely check that out. It's so much fun watching the kids make their own comic books, and then they do the speech bubbles coming out and just acting out something. I've had students act out a retelling of a story from a nonfiction or a fiction book. I've had students do like different things about like telling a science experiment, or how the process of was how they got to the end result of their science experiment using the same method. So definitely check those out.
All right, we're going to have to speed through these next ones, but here's a couple of templates that are for teachers. So everything we've shared so far has really been for students. I mean, it's for you. Hopefully it saves you time, but it was really for your students to use. These are templates for teachers. I am going to admit that not every PD that I go to do I have the best, most positive attitude. I try to be a person that is very positive. And if you've ever been to a PD, I'm sure all of us have, where you're like, I am not looking forward to this. I don't think I need this one. Here's a way to self-personalize any PD. You're walking into one that you're not thinking, I don't know if I'm going to get anything out of this. You start with, what's my problem that I want to learn about today? And it might be something that you're like, this presenter's not going to talk about that. But if you try to focus in your mind on, I am going to learn about classroom management, no matter what, if it kills me today, then you can look for those big ideas that hit on that. And every time I've done this, I have walked away going, I got so much out of that, even if I walked in thinking I wasn't going to. So this is a great way for you yourself to get the most out of your PD sessions. Maybe ones that when you're walking in, you're like, I don't know if I'm going to get a lot out of it. You can self-personalize it with these questions. And then I also have a template there that you can actually make your own background for your computer. You guys, I know a lot of teachers like to put like a picture of your family, and that is precious and sweet. And I'm not discouraging that. I just think it pops up in front of our kids so often. Why not let it reinforce positive things, like maybe your PBIS matrix for your school, or maybe a positive quote, so that every time that screen happens to pop up in front of your kids' faces, you're reinforcing something. So if you want to grab a copy of that with directions, it is right there.
All right, I have this and we're almost out of time too. We have a shared drive folders theme. So all these themes that I have on here, if you're in your shared drive, which used to be called Team Drive, so if you're in there, I have this template that I made in Google Slides and Google Drive that you can take and you can add images and text to that. And then once you download that as an image, you can upload to your shared Google Drive folder. So what's interesting about the shared drive is it's like really, really small and compressed. It's small. And so I found out what size that was by looking it up online. And then I just made my slide presentation that same size. So that's where you can go to grab some of those templates for editing your team drives or what they call now shared drives.
All right, we're going to point to a few other people's templates that we love. We found a Wakelet board full of templates that's great. We love Eric Kurtz's templates, Matt Miller's templates, and there are links there for you to be able to go right out and see like a list of all their free templates. So if you were thinking, my backpack's already full of Meredith and Tom's templates, there's a ton more for you at those websites.
So we're going to hop through this now because we are out of time, but here is our link. It's bit.ly/capital B for backpack full, capital FULL. So bit.ly/backpack full. Make sure you do the case sensitive B and the FULL. We just had this one. This one was one of our Bitmoji classrooms that Meredith put on here. So you can edit that. And we have a bunch of stuff on there from @bitmoji.kayla, who does really good with, she has all these free templates for you. If you need any of my presentations, I put them all in one slide presentation and one blog post that you can get to as well. And then down this list, we have tons of other stuff that we would just love to share with you. We showed you a couple of methods on how to do stuff, how to do rubber stamps, how to make different graphics. And so all this is for you. If you need any help or tutorials, please reach out to @FreshThoughtEDU or @Tommy Spall or @Meredith Akers on Twitter, and we would love to get back to you and help you out. So
thanks you guys so much for having us. We hope you enjoyed, and we hope your backpack is feeling full of lots of great templates.
Thank you so much, Meredith, for joining me on this endeavor as well. I appreciate you being here. You're amazing. I'm lucky.
Wow. That was awesome, y'all. That was jam-packed full of amazing information, and I wish we could keep y'all around for 3 more hours.
Thank you.
I think the audience would say the same thing, but the session code is, let's see here. Oh, Tommy, you're in my way, but it's like right down there.
Right there.
And just go ahead and put that in for the password. Make sure the capitalization does matter in this case. And thank y'all so much. Meredith, Tommy, amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having us.